Hello, everyone. Welcome back from your summer break. I hope that it was a good one, and welcome to week 6. Okay, we are now halfway through this course and a little more than halfway through the modules. So obviously, weeks 1 through 5 of the course, we covered a module each week. But starting this week, we're going to actually take 2 weeks per module. So we're going to have 2 weeks for module 6, 2 for module 7, and then 1 week for module 8. But module 8 is kind of like a wrap up / preview of English 111, and you won't actually have an essay due for module 8. So we have modules 6 and 7, and we're going to spend 2 weeks a piece on those. So a little bit more relaxed. Okay. So I'm going to pull up the Monday memo that posted yesterday. And I do want to draw your attention to the article. Now, the article uploaded is by Brendan O'Shaughnessy, A Whole New Ball Game. And he compares coaching a freshman boys basketball team to a freshman girls basketball team. And of course, I have included a more recent article that was published just a few months ago that basically talks about the same thing, the difference in men and women's sports, not just in popularity, but as far as what is provided for those sports, resources, and whatnot. And so these are 2 really good articles that compare the 2 sports. So they note similarities and differences. Okay, so when you're comparing 2 things, first of all, you have to make sure that they're comparable. You've got to make sure that you can compare the 2. So you can't compare a car to eating at a restaurant. Those 2 things don't make sense. They're not even in the same atmosphere. They're not in the same topic. They're not in the same genre, nothing. Now, comparing 2 different cars, that's doable. They're both cars, but they will have some similarities and differences based on make, model, etc. Comparing 2 restaurants, definitely doable. But comparing a car and a restaurant, not doable. Okay, so when you write a comparison essay, you need to make sure that the things that you're comparing are similar types. So for this assignment, I'm giving you the topic. I'm telling you that for this Module 6 essay, you will be comparing 2 classes or courses that you've taken. Okay? You can pick what 2 courses you want. I don't care about that. But you need to choose the 2 courses. Okay? So some people, like to go back to 2 classes they took in high school. That's fine. Some people have to take a class for their job or their career that they're in, and so they choose one of those classes and compare it to a different class. That's fine. You can, if you're taking more than 1 class this semester, during the summer session, if you're taking 2 or more classes, you can choose to compare 2 classes that you're taking right now. It really is fine. You can choose whatever 2 classes, okay? But make sure that you are able to compare them. And comparing is similarities and differences, okay? So a requirement for this assignment is that you choose at least 1 of each, okay? So since you're going to have 3 points for this essay, you can either choose 1 similarity and 2 differences, or 2 similarities and 1 difference, okay? But you're going to have 3 points total and at least 1 similarity and 1 difference, okay? When you're comparing. Now, as I said before, we have 2 weeks for this. So your essay is not due this Sunday. Your essay is not due until next Sunday, July 13th. What is due this Sunday is your writing plan. Okay, and we've done these writing plans. You did it for Module 4, you did it for Module 5. I want to see your plan. I want to see your 3 points of comparison. I want to see some examples for each of those points, and your notes for this essay. And it's important because I want to make sure that you are on the right path, because next week you will need to have a full rough draft completed so that we can do peer review or a writing share via discussion board before the essay is due. Okay, so you need to go ahead and get started, get thinking about what 2 classes and possibly what 3 points you're going to use. So there are a lot of resources in Module 6 for you to do this, okay? So first of all, of course, I have the article here. And then, of course, the assignment guidelines and the rubric and a sample essay. Please review these carefully. I just gave you a brief rundown of what you're doing, choosing 2 classes. This is your typical 5-paragraph essay. Okay, we've only been writing 4 paragraphs essay so far, so this is your first 5-paragraph essay. And the reason it's 5 paragraphs is because you have 3 points. So you're doing 3 points of comparison. You need an introduction before your 3 points and then a conclusion after it. So 1 paragraph for each, that's 5, all right? So please review all of this information carefully. Ask me any questions that you may have. Here are just some videos to help get your mind going on some different things that you could choose for your points of comparison. I also have an important note here about point by point versus subject by subject comparisons, all right? We are doing a point by point comparison. And I'm gonna back this back out. This is very important to understand, okay? When you do a point by point, your body paragraphs, you have 3 body paragraphs, and you do 1 point per paragraph. You're used to doing that, but you talk about both classes in each body paragraph. For example, if I'm going to compare my math class and my English class, maybe one of my points of comparison is my interest in the content. I'm not very interested in math. I am very interested in English and creative writing. So if interest is my first point, I'm going to talk about my interest in math or lack thereof and my interest in English in that same paragraph where I talk about interest. All right. And then my second point, maybe my second point is teaching style. I'm going to talk about the teaching style in my English class and the teaching style in my math class in that 1 teaching style point paragraph. And then whatever my third point is, I'm going to talk about both classes there. And then I have my conclusion. So that's what this means when it says body paragraphs and it says point 1 comparison, and you do subject A and B. Talk about that 1 point. So you talk about your 2 classes in your second point, and you talk about your 2 classes in your third point. That is a point by point comparison. It is when your points are what make up your body paragraphs. If you've got 3 body paragraphs, you've got 3 points, all right? Subject by subject is when you talk about the subject itself, which would be English and math. So in a subject by subject, I'd only have 2 body paragraphs. I'd have a really big paragraph about English and a really big paragraph about math. And so in my first body paragraph about English, I'd talk about my interest in the topic, I'd talk about teaching style, and then I'd talk about whatever my third point is. And all of it would have to do with English. Then in my second really big body paragraph, I'd talk about all those points again, but relate them to math. And then I have a conclusion. So in a subject by subject, you're only going to have 4 paragraphs because you've only got 2 subjects. You're comparing English and math. Okay, We're not doing that. We're doing a point by point. So, and this is where your thesis statement can help guide you, okay? Because you should have 3 points of comparisons, which means you should have 3 body paragraphs. All right, so point by point outline, that's what we're doing. If you have questions about that, how that looks, what to do, please let me know. The sample essay is a point by point essay. So that will help you. There's a comparison essay sample writing plan. So I've created kind of a sample writing plan and given you an example of 2 classes, English and anatomy, given you an example of the 3 points, 2 similarities and 1 difference, and then given you an example of how each of that looks, each point for each body paragraph. So you have a clear outline. You can use this outline for your essay if you want and just replace the classes, replace the points, and you can use the same outline to create your essay, okay? So there's that as well. And then, of course, I've got some information here about active versus passive voice. Very important that you want to write an active voice. And then also a video about semicolons and colons. We're using them a lot more. I'm seeing them a lot more in your writing, which is excellent, but they are different. You don't use a semicolon like you use a comma. So I've included the semicolon and colon stuff here, but also just a reminder of the comma rules that we did back in, I believe, module 3. And then I have a whole list of tricky word sets for you. Okay, so I haven't included tricky word sets, I don't believe, or maybe I did in the Monday memo. I don't think I did this time just because I just gave you the whole list. Okay, so let's look at what is due this week. Okay, this is what you need to do this week. And I beg you to please don't, you can't move faster, okay? Because module 6 is open, so I guess you technically could submit stuff early, but don't submit your essay yet, okay? This brainstorming, your flow map, your writing plan is due the 6th. It's due this Sunday, okay? Next week, we're gonna do the writing share where you actually submit your rough draft to this discussion board. Someone reads it and gives their opinion and answers questions about it. And then you use that feedback and my feedback from your rough draft to do your essay and submit it, okay? So please don't try to rush through this. I know that since it's available, the tendency is to, let's just go ahead and get this done. And then I won't have anything to do next week. You will still have things to do next week because we have this writing share to complete and you have to submit this. It would be valuable to you to wait to get my feedback on the brainstorming. Wait to get feedback from me and your classmates on your rough draft before you submit this essay, okay? So I have this sheet here. It's the same type of sheet that I've given you every time. But of course, I've adjusted it for module 6, and you will note that there are 3 boxes here because there are 3 body paragraphs because you have 3 points of comparison. And so this is set up with that extra box to help you. You can write in this, either write in it, take a picture of it and submit it to me, or you can download it and type right in this and upload it. But I would like for you to use this point by point, use this sample writing plan, use this brainstorming sheet to really focus on brainstorming your ideas and your points of comparison for your 2 classes that you're choosing for this essay. Focus all your time on that, okay? The more work you put into this writing and planning, the faster or better you'll be able to write your essay, okay? So that's all I'm going to say about that. You also have 2 inquisitives. These are the last 2 inquisitives for the course. I think I said at the beginning of the course, we have a total of 15 inquisitive assignments. This is 14 and 15, okay? So you will not be assigned any new inquisitives in Module 7 or Module 8. These are the last two. Of course, you know that you can access all the inquisitives since Module 1 in Canvas and continue to revise them and work them until you get a 100%. Your inquisitives add up to 20% of your total grade. So please don't let them slip by you. They're due August 4th. Please don't let them slip by you, okay? Because while you may have an A now, if 20% of your grade is a 0, that could drop your score definitely to a low C, possibly even an F. So be very, very careful and stay on top of these inquisitive assignments, all right? So I believe that that's all I wanted to go over with you. Oh no, there was one other thing. Your midterm grades have been submitted, and it's no surprise when you go to grades in your Canvas, when you go into grades, the grade that you see there, that is the grade that I put into self-service for your midterm grade. So if you don't have any inquisitives done yet, but your grade is still like an A or a B, that's why, because they don't count against you until August 4th. So your final grade will be impacted, not your midterm grade, okay? And I haven't graded your Module 5 essays yet, okay? So your midterm grade is everything that's been graded up until this point except for your Module 5 essay, okay? So I'm going to be working on those this week. Again, you'll have them by the end of this week, but of course that feedback is not really needed until next week because that's when your Module 6 essay is due. So I'm still sticking within my 1 week of having your essays graded. I didn't grade any last week, okay? So let me know if you have any questions or concerns or issues with anything. I am here to help. Welcome back. We have 5 weeks left, and I know you all will do well. So let me know if you have any questions, okay? Talk to you later. Bye.